Welcome everyone. I'm joined here with David Gary, our undergraduate admissions chief consultant here at the Banpo Group. It's great to have you, David.
Hi, thanks Ben. Great to be here. I'm David, chief undergrad consultant at Banpo유학 Consulting. To give you a little background, I did my undergrad at Johns Hopkins and graduated Phi Beta Kappa with a degree in economics and a minor in business. I went on to do my MBA at KAIST here in Korea.
Awesome, David. Would you mind going into more depth about what your role here is?
Sure. So I'm responsible for the essay process for the majority of our prospective undergraduate clients. I also work with Dave Hung, our head of projects, on our students' passion projects.
So what kind of clients do you typically take on, David?
Yeah, so with over 10 years of experience in admissions consulting, I pride myself in the results I have achieved. To this point, I have helped every student who applied to top 10 schools with me get into at least one of those top 10 schools.
Impressive. So what do you think has been the secret to such impressive results?
Yeah, so I'm just going to outright say this. Don't trust 99% of the advice that college consultants give you. I've seen kids with 1450 SATs and 3.5 GPAs get into MIT and Harvard, and kids with 1600s be rejected from every single top 10 they apply to. There's so much talk in the college consulting market around entering math, science, essay competitions, and having leadership roles within student organizations. Sure, these things do help marginally, but there are so many kids who have similar results. You could use your time preparing for these competitions far more effectively on a passion project. So that begs the question then, what is the key to success? Well, it's demonstrating you're not one among the 100,000 applying. So how are you different? What is your unique skill set? So these questions need to be answered and manifested through a meaningful passion project. And once that passion project is executed, the wealth of information one can write about in their essays grows exponentially.
With regards to your essays, do you have a specific philosophy that you abide by for your students? What kind of valuable insights can you give us? And what can you share with our students here at the Banpo?
Yeah, so I generally take the essay process a lot differently than other UAG ones would. So basically, I start from having the student look introspectively, specifically at what are the student's unique personality traits that define that student. And then once those personality traits that are defined, normally that process normally works with a parent and the student themselves. That's when we move on to actually looking at the student's experiences and linking the two to create a valuable message that students, that colleges will love.
So did you actually do a passion project yourself, David?
Yeah, so I did. I wanted to be a professional tennis player actually growing up, and so my passion project involved creating a non-profit teaching underprivileged kids in my area tennis. To be honest, my grades in high school weren't great, but this project really demonstrated my commitment to the community.
Is that what you think was key to getting you into Johns Hopkins?
So I would say absolutely it was. But don't get me wrong, in retrospect, I could have done way more, and of course, as a college consultant now, hindsight is 20/20. I was actually waitlisted at Harvard and Stanford. I can't help but feel, had I taken my project further and actually had quantifiable impact statistics based on my project, I cannot help but feel I would have gotten into both schools, Harvard and Stanford. Of course, Hopkins is a great school, but looking back on how I could have done better makes me that much more motivated to help my students create projects that they're proud of and help them get into the college of their dreams.
So David, you've had a lot of experience getting kids off the wait list and into top 10 schools. What was your strategy getting these kids into those schools? And how was the waitlist process for Harvard yourself? I've heard that there are multiple rounds of waitlist process for Harvard especially.
Yeah, so the way that Harvard worked, at least, was there was an initial waitlist, and then from that initial waitlist, they also selected a couple off that waitlist to be on what was called a final waitlist. And I was actually one of the people on that final waitlist, and not getting off that final waitlist actually, made me sort of regret how I could have done better. And so when I work with students, what I focus in regard to waitlist essays is making sure that we really update the colleges on something that was not originally in the application. Because if you're just basically just catching up with the college and saying what you did that was similar to your experiences already, from the college's perspective, they'll say, why would we admit this candidate when we didn't admit them last time? So updating them on the new experiences or meaningful projects is the best way of getting off the waitlist and actually into the school.
So here at Banpo Group, what kinds of students do you normally work with?
Sure. So because I'm so invested and passionate about my student success, I only take about 5 students a year total for the Banpo. Taking more would be irresponsible as the amount of time and effort I put into helping my students is significant enough. Regarding specific requirements for the types of students I work with, first, kids who are open and willing to look deeply introspectively and find what it is that they're really passionate about. The more eager he or she is open to share, the more I can help. Second, kids with a high GPA. SAT is something that can be developed over time, but GPA is something that fundamentally needs to be already stabilized. Our role as consultants is not to be a homework helper, but rather help a student already self-motivated get into the school of their dreams. What about you, Ben? What do you look for?
So yes, David, obviously we look for students who have time to commit to working on themselves. Going to Hagwons is great to an extent, but kids need to have enough time to really work on their passion projects and essays with us. So David, how do you determine if students meet these requirements that we're looking for?
Yeah, so it's really hard to tell just off paper. Any student interested in signing up with us will have to have an initial consultation at our office with Taepyo-nim, our head of projects, David Hong, and I. If we feel the student meets the criteria I mentioned before, we will extend their offer to work with the student.
Thank you for your valuable insights here today, David. That's going to be a big help to a lot of students looking for guidance.
Yeah, so I just want to say, any student that's looking to work with us, I encourage you to reach out and have a meeting with us. We're all down-to-earth individuals, and we really want to get to know who you are. And the most rewarding thing for us is being able to get you into the school of your dreams. So again, contact the Banpo group, and let's have a meeting together. Thank you.